Commissioner, I want to use half of your time to talk about the current crisis, what we can do in the future, particularly legislatively, since we're the authorizing committee. And I love uh, the ranking member's war mentality, because that's how I feel right now. This has got to be like a general in the field. So, first question for 2 minutes. Um, the president has invoked the Defense Production Act. He's launched Operation Fly Formula. You're taking actions with Abbott. How is this going to complement each other? Will it be effective in getting this formula out quickly? Are you talking 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever, to get this shortage over with? And then, as part of that, how will you get information distributed so we can tell our constituents how they get this formula? How they have access to it so they can get it. That's 2 minutes.
Sure. First of all, let me just say this is a war mentality. It is a crisis. We're fully aware of it. Families should not be searching for formula, but they have to do it now until we fill in. So if we several weeks out, we'll have a surplus of formula. When I say several, I can't say exactly how many weeks. Until then, we have to fill it in with all these measures. The other producers have stepped up. We're now importing. We're flying military planes and other planes to pick it up uh, and bring it in. And we just have to keep filling in until we get to the point that the production is up.
All right, now
The
what?
good news from Abbott,
How
yeah,
about
I'm
getting it
sorry.
out so that our constituents know how to get formula? I'm very concerned that you do all this and they won't know how to access it and still have a problem, particularly low income people, people that don't have access to information easily.
Yes, I think it's really important for people to go to the HHS website, hhs.gov/formula. There you'll find the hotline for all the manufacturers and helpful information about where to go. The distribution is being handled by really professionals at supply chain who have been working throughout the pandemic with a variety of products. So as soon as it comes in, we'll get it to the places that are in the greatest need. But you're right, the public is going to have to stay attuned, hopefully through that website to get information that they
All right.
need.
Think of other ways too, because not everybody has. So let's think of other ways to get that information out as this formula becomes available, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. Now, my second question with the authorizing committee, I am concerned about a future crisis because we need to have a mechanism, in my opinion, where the manufacturers tell us, or there's some kind of trigger or alarm bell, the FDA, if they're experiencing shortages for whatever reason. So what I'm told is, that maybe we need to have some kind of transparency legislation through shortage reporting requirements that would require manufacturers to alert FDA of potential shortages so they can shift production, or we can go into overload. And also something to empower the FDA to act more quickly with regard to contamination, because that process is so bogged down in long and cumbersome regulatory ways. So, minute and a half, what can we do to have a better reporting? What can we do so that you don't get bogged down in this long process when there's potential contamination, or anything else you think, other tools you need? You have about a minute.
We've asked for a number of authorities, and we have consistently. I'll just to remind the group of what's in the document. At the end of the pandemic, we requested authorities to deal specifically with the potential for infant formula shortages, and we were unsuccessful in getting those acted upon. Yet we did a number of things at FDA to try to deal with it with the resources that we cobbled together. But you mentioned a couple of things that are absolutely critical. Right now, we have no ability to, there's no requirement that manufacturers alert us if they are running short. Secondly, just for example, Abbott had cultured Coronabacter in samples going back a ways, but since they had not shipped them out, they had no requirement to either keep the samples or alert us that that had happened. We discovered it on inspection, but it may surprise people to know that. The consent decree process, we could have a long discussion about, but um, there are not, and for me, I worked at Google for 5 years before coming back. You would be surprised to know there's no just-in-time system where all the FDA employees can see what's going on. What we really need is access to the information that the manufacturers have about each of their individual supply chains. They each have their individual supply chains, but there is no national system to make sure the supply is getting where it needs to go. And then finally, I'll mention this is not unique to this problem. This is our most special problem. But right now, we have a shortage of contrast media for people having strokes and heart attacks. 60 Minutes ran a show that I would recommend for you. Generic drug shortages are happening every day in hospitals. We have to do something about our supply chain issues.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
I think the